one of these days I'm gonna actually order the plate that I just ate. I'm gonna order another one to go.
Dang,
It's that good.
dang.
I thought for sure that was the one you were gonna stick with too, man. I thought we were in this together. You bailed on me.
I found something better and cheaper.
Well, better is relative, but you know. What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the Top 10 Movie Podcast with your boy Mike and my boy Molly across from me.
What's up?
We're back again, doing our thing, just talking about our top 10 lists. And this week we're doing something a little different. There's a couple of reasons for it. This week is just, I got 5, Molly's got 5, and we're doing just a straight up 10.
Combined top 10.
Combined top 10 list. There's a couple of reasons for that. One was you had told me that you kind of struggled to get 10 for this list.
Well, I knew that we wanted to try this new 5-on-5 structure.
It's been suggested by a couple of listeners. Maybe we should try it.
Yeah, some early listeners told us that we were going a little bit long. Sometimes it felt like towards the end of our top 10 list individually, we were kind of pressing, trying to hurry. We don't want to do that. We want to leave space that we can really dive into some of these topics, and we obviously do that already. So we're hoping that this new format, us doing 5 choices each, would help with pacing and keeping our podcast listenable. We want you to be able to listen to it. Listen to it.
Digestible.
Digestible, yes. Instead of having to digest one at lunch, one at dinner, one the next day, maybe you could have one whole listening and listen to us.
But I still think moving forward, we should do a mix of both.
Okay.
Let's do 10 and 10 sometimes, and sometimes if we feel like the list is too complicated to get 10,
Yes.
or we're
Struggling to
stressing,
get choices.
then let's just do 5 and 5.
Yeah, sounds good. And we want to know what you guys think of it. So let us know what you think about this new format. If you prefer the old format to the new one, let us know, or vice versa. And then we can continue to kind of do those. That'd be good. All right, so this podcast, particular one, our top 10 list, is the top 10 side characters that could carry a solo movie. So side characters in one movie that we thought performed so well or shined so brightly, maybe even outshined the main character to the point where it felt like they deserved their own movie or could at least carry their own movie, right? So what was the first choice that you came up with? Right.
First choice for me, it came to me right away. And a big part of it is because I recently found out, well, by the time you guys hear this is going to be old news, but I recently found out that they are moving forward with the sequel for this. The lead actor in the original has been pushing with studios to try to get a sequel off the ground, and it's finally going to happen. So this movie is Constantine.
Oh.
And the side character that I want to see get his own, which is not going to happen, but I like to see him in his own spinoff. I think he could carry the film. Is Shia LaBeouf's character Chaz Kramer.
Got you.
So he's a sidekick to John Constantine in that movie, but he kind of knows a little bit about the occult and the supernatural. He's got some background, and I think he could do it. And I mean, it's not a spoiler. This movie's been out almost 20 years now.
Yeah, so long.
He dies at the end, or in the final battle, but in the very last scene, he does come back as an angel. So I think there's somewhere that they could go with that.
Nice.
And they could give him his own movie. And you could mention Constantine. He's out there still, keeping demons from breaching Earth and all this and that. But let's just focus now on Chaz as an angel. Maybe he's a fallen angel. Maybe he's on Earth and he's like, I still have work to do. And he gets sent back with these abilities and powers, and he's kind of like leveled up. OP Chaz Kramer, almost.
Yeah, and there's so much further they could have gone with that character. Obviously, they did because they came out with a television show.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they did one season of the television show, and then it got picked up by another, if I remember correctly. Obviously, this has comic book origins, so there's some comic booky things that could be done with it as well. But I like the choice, yes. And that was one of the best things about that movie. First of all, it was a movie. If they come up with a sequel or a side character movie, I can't watch it because Constantine was too far for me. That was beyond my limits where I wanted to go.
You mean you didn't like the part where he went to hell and was chased by a demon?
No.
Okay.
But I did like the concept and the idea in Keanu Reeves and Shia LaBeouf so much I did see the movie.
Okay.
So at least I went beyond my comfort limits to watch it. The ending twist with him becoming an angel was pretty cool.
Well, I'm proud of you that you saw this.
Thanks. Well, I think it's something. I don't know if that's something to be proud of. My first one on this list was Terrence Fletcher. Terrence Fletcher is from the movie Whiplash, played by J.K. Simmons.
Excellent choice.
Anybody who sees this movie you would almost feel like J.K. Simmons is the main character in this movie, but he's not. But he is the tyrannical band instructor, teacher, who at first presents himself as, like J.K. Simmons, I would imagine in real life, a pleasant human being. But as soon as you make just the littlest mistake in music, he is on you so hard. Like, imagine the worst drill sergeant to ever grace the army.
That's a good
He is
description.
that level.
Yeah.
And by the end of it, the ending, he gets his revenge, and then the student gets his revenge, kind of. But by the end, J.K. Simmons is digging the revenge. Like, he's able. So everything that J.K. Simmons did in this movie was to get his musicians to a certain place. And ultimately, he did get our main character to that place. But he had to go through all kinds of hell to get him there.
Hell and back.
And what you think is J.K. Simmons, like he's just this evil guy, you can see at the end he's digging it. Like this is what I wanted the whole time, and he's in it.
Because his whole thing is, I want to push my players to be the best.
The very best.
Yeah.
And will not settle for not even an inch or a centimeter less than
I think he throws a symbol at somebody,
yeah,
or a
calls
chair.
worst kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
Everything. He will do what it takes to get them to what I guess he defines as musical perfection. But I want to see why he's that way. What built him to become that? And then how he resolves himself, if he ever does, towards the latter end of his life to make amends or to heal or whatever. But what made him into that? How did he get there? So I'd like to see an origin story for him and a kind of a redemption arc too, potentially, if there is any redemption for him. Because in his mind, maybe he's doing exactly what he was put on earth to do, which was to make the most perfect musicians that I can make. And whatever, by whatever means necessary, I will do it.
Okay.
If that's his mentality, how did he get that way? And is there anything else that changed? Does that change after the movie at all?
That's interesting. That's a great choice because I've seen the movie twice. And I mean, the last sequence, just the drum solo from Miles Teller is mind-blowing. It's phenomenal.
Film's so good.
Yeah.
Cinematography.
Oh, of course.
On point.
Spot on. And I have a theory about Fletcher. I think his backstory is his father was a big jazz player. Now, obviously, he didn't make it to become greatness. He wasn't the next Charlie Parker or Miles Davis, but I think he was good. And I think he was so in love and had such a passion for jazz that he would always talk to little Fletcher about jazz. But I think he also was hard on his son. He was hard on Fletcher, which made him the way he is. And he's like, this is the greatest art form there ever is. If you can master this, you'll be one of the greatest. But you, as my son, will never achieve this. I think he kind of put that burden on his son to say, they'll never reach greatness, but this is the greatest art form. And I think, kind of like as a middle finger to his dad, he's like, I'm going to go into this, and I might not be the greatest musician, but I'm going to create the greatest musician. Yeah. And I think that's kind of what drove, it was like childhood trauma drove him to be the sadistic destructor the way he is.
That's good. That would be a great movie to watch.
I agree, for sure.
One of the other things that I wanted to bring up with this movie is you mentioned seeing it a couple of times. I hate bullying. I hate bullying in all of its forms. I was bullied in high school. I hate it. I despise it. Yeah, there's something about this movie I can't get away from. I go back to it every once in a while because it is a very vicious style of bullying by J.K. Simmons. A man in power with so much power to influence people's futures. So it's almost it's another level of bullying because he can impact your future whether he likes you or not.
True.
And then he's just so vicious with the words that he speaks and the physical action that he takes. He always seems just a half a second away from busting a blood vessel in his head or throwing a haymaker at your head while you're holding a baritone.
Yeah.
Or throwing a baritone at you. Don't put that past him.
Right.
So I shouldn't like this movie as much as I do, but there's something about this movie. And maybe it's not just the bully. It's not just the bully, but the one who's being bullied and how he has to make through that journey. And then ultimately he fights the bully in his way and wins at the bully's game at the end of it. He bullies J.K. Simmons into what he thought was a lost opportunity into his opportunity.
Yeah.
And then by the end, J.K. Simmons is embracing it. So it's a weird dynamic.
It is.
And I love it. So
because Miles Teller's final act is a defiant one because he's
It
kicked
is.
out of the band at this point.
It is.
And he comes back and says, "No, I'm going to prove to you I can do what you think I can."
And he had a moment to leave. He had his out.
Mm-hmm.
He had his father embracing him, saying, "Let's go. Let's get out of here." He turned around. Something changed in him.
Mm-hmm.
And he decided he was going to be the bully in that moment and fight for himself.
It always made me wonder in the closing credits, what is that dynamic like after the credits roll? I
Yeah.
would love to know. So again, I guess you could
I
touch on
bet
that.
he treats him like his son, dude.
You think so?
Because he's done. He doesn't need to bully him.
Yeah.
He's reached the nirvana. That's where I wanted to. And he played the perfect set. Because I don't feel like to him it's about a career.
Right.
I think it's about one perfect
One
performance.
perfect moment. Yeah,
And he got it.
it did.
So there's no need to bully him anymore because he's done the thing that he wanted him to
But see,
do.
I think Miles Teller's in his defiance, he thinks I'm going to prove you wrong.
Yeah.
It actually,
Proves
Jake-
him right.
it does. He's like,
It's
he's like,
weird.
I knew that if I can just mistreat you enough and treat you like a stepson to get you to bend to my will and do what I want, I can do this. And you just justify my actions, so I can do this to everybody. Because I know that it works. It only takes one time for it to work.
Right. It's like if the drill sergeant makes the perfect soldier, does it matter what he had to put that soldier through to get him there?
Right. I can ruin 150 students
good.
before you,
so
but if it
good.
works once, that's all it takes.
I've been in band too. I was in band for 2 years. Nothing like this.
Really? So what did you play? What did you play?
I did. I played the baritone.
Oh, okay.
I played the
Okay.
baritone for 2 years. I played in stage band.
Mm-hmm.
I was in a rock band as a drummer later in
I
life.
played rock band.
Yes, I love there's a Huey Lewis Back to the Future song on Guitar Hero. that when I first discovered Guitar Hero, it was in an arcade at the local mall, and it was an arcade. It was an arcade box, so you had a guitar connected
Yep.
to it. That's the first time I ever experienced that, and they had they had a Huey Lewis song on there, and I love that. I just kept playing that over and over and over again.
Okay. Sidebar: the director of this movie is Damien Chazelle. He directed La La Land.
Okay.
So he's a
winner.
big music.
Yeah, but dude, it's the cinematography, especially during that last scene, is amazing. Like I've never seen that even in a music video. That was so crazy. So really good. And the whole build up to that obviously made that moment even more enriching.
It was a great payoff for the audience, for us.
Yeah, because it's not just the every little hit of the drums, and I played the drums too, right, for a little bit, and it's every little cymbal crash and every little focus on the snare and the kick, but then the quick flashes of J.K. Simmons' face when he's mad, when he's accepting of it, when he's enjoying it.
See all the changes.
You see it all.
Yeah.
So good. So good. All right, that was just number one. Man, and we only have 5 each, so this is already getting.
So this is why
This is getting good.
this may work. This
There we go.
this idea may work. We could go deeper into the deep dives.
Well, we'll let the honest decide. Keep going. Who's your number two?
Next one for me. You know what? This is just I just want to see him because his character stood out because it was so funny. It was so like this guy probably is really dangerous, but he came off as really funny in his approach. This is Faison Love's Big Worm from Friday.
Yes.
Because I have a theory.
Big Perm, you mean?
Big Perm, Big Worm. Just like the little local, I peddle some weed every now and then, but I think I'm bigger than I am.
Faison needs some
He does.
love.
He does, man.
He does.
So we talked about movies that we think we should be remade, and I mentioned Harlem Nights. You could throw him in Harlem Nights, the remake.
Be perfect.
Perfect.
All right, but we're talking about Big Worm. Why does Big Worm need his own movie?
I mean, I want to see his ascension from,
Oh, from Little Worm to Big Worm?
Yes. I mean, this guy is peddling drugs out of an ice cream truck. He's stealing kids' money and not giving them chili Fritos. And he's after Smokey for what, $200?
Uh-huh.
So he's a little, part-time, little wannabe street hustler peddling weed. That's it. He's a nobody, but he thinks he's bigger than he is. I want to see his ascension, and I have a theory
Here we go.
that he gets so caught up in the life that he has to make a run for it. It's either jail time or you're gonna end up killed, or you have to just leave. So he changes his life, turns his life around, goes to New York, becomes a department store manager in Elf. Boom. You didn't see that coming, did you?
Dude. Yeah, I did. No, I didn't see that coming, but that's a great theory.
I've had this theory in my head for a while, so yeah.
All right, so the movie starts with him as a little worm, and his ascension, and then it ends as he gets the job at the department store.
Yes.
And then maybe Will Ferrell makes a cameo at the end where
Right.
he walks through the door as for a job interview or something.
There you go. Simple.
Or
See?
whatever. He does his thing, whatever he does.
But I mean, we all have come across people in our lives, in our neighborhood, who think they're bigger than they really are, and they think they're cooler than everybody else. It's
neighborhood
you're not.
celebrities.
Yeah, 100%.
This guy's a neighborhood
Just because you got a nickname, you know, like
Cool nickname.
I have to live up to the nickname, or people are gonna think I'm soft, and I run this though. But you don't run this. You still chili cheese Fritos.
Right. Small time.
It's small time. Yeah.
Yeah.
You selling weed. You're not selling coke.
Can't do it forever. What
No.
happens? What happens next?
Jail
All right.
time.
Dang. That's probably true. My next one, dude, this would be an over the top. I don't know if you could do this movie, but because the movie that this is based on cannot be done again. Not in this modern time of, like we've talked about, this cancel culture time. This movie cannot be made now. But people love this movie and they love this character, and everyone was surprised when this actor who played this character so well. And the side character that I believe could carry his own solo movie is Les Grossman
Oh,
of
okay.
the movie Tropic Thunder.
For a while, I thought you were gonna go towards Ari Gold from Entourage.
No. We're talking movies, bro. Oh, no, Entourage was a movie.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
right. I forgot. But Les Grossman from the movie Tropic Thunder, played by Tom Cruise in basically a fat suit with fat hands, and he's basically the Hollywood agent from hell. and I would love to still see Bill Hader as his assistant,
Yep.
and him just going about his business. I think could make a great movie, but obviously needs some kind of character arc there for him. But no, this guy is savage. He loves to. He surprisingly danced really well at the end of that movie. Right? He made the movie for a lot of people. Although the premise about the movie is already wild and funny, he just took it up a notch. And the fact that it was Tom Cruise surprised a lot of people.
Now, when you saw it, did you know it was Tom Cruise, or was
Yes.
you did know?
I knew it was Tom Cruise.
So
I was
you
surprised.
could recognize that it was him.
Yeah, but I think I knew going in maybe that he was.
Oh, okay, got it.
I wasn't shocked by it, but I was surprised at how well he played it. He's not known for dancing necessarily, not known for comedy, and not known for being putting in a fat suit.
Right.
He did all three of those really well. So much so, I think he deserves his own movie, or could have had his own solo movie. I don't know if he would do that now, but like I said, Tropic Thunder couldn't be made today. I
True.
don't think so.
RDJ in blackface.
Yeah.
Definitely wouldn't fly.
No, and some of the Asian stereotypes that they talk about in that, I think it would just get tortured. It would just get criticized so much. But Les Grossman from that movie could absolutely carry his own movie.
But at one point they were in discussions to actually do a Les Grossman
Should have.
solo film, but
The time's passed.
yeah, it's over now.
Could have done it like a year or two after that, maybe, but nah, it's time.
And he's Ethan Hunt now forever.
Yeah, and I don't think maybe Tom didn't want to take his career in that direction. I get it.
So is this the movie that you think maybe told you, okay, Tom Cruise can literally do anything? Is this the role?
I never doubted that Tom Cruise could. I mean, he's one of, if not one of the most talented actors in cinematic history. Has been doing it a very long time. We have been spoiled by the actors that have been able to carry their careers over multiple decades. It didn't happen.
Right.
And back in the day, it didn't happen because a lot of them smoked and they just didn't survive very long. To be honest, truth. But yeah, that is very rare to have someone cross over decades. And Tom Cruise is one of the ones that's done it the longest. Forget it. He made like his breakout role was probably Top Gun. Breakout as far as like
Mainstream. Okay.
superstardom.
Yeah.
Like he had Risky Business. He had Taps, or I think that he was in
Taps.
that.
Yeah.
But nothing blew him up as much as Top Gun. And
But
that was
Risky Business was basically a Tom Cruise movie.
yeah. But then this Risky Business couldn't be seen by the massive general audience.
True.
Especially children and teenagers probably wouldn't necessarily watch Risky Business, which is about prostitution.
It's also about high school kids, though.
That is true, but I don't think. Yeah, and they exposed kids at that time to a lot of different things, freaking a lot. But we've talked about that a lot. But Top Gun, massive audience, right? And then just introduced him to that massive, like a whole other level of filmmaking. So, and he's been doing it since that, and that's what 86.
Yeah,
85?
Top Gun was 86. Yeah. So
It's a long freaking time.
once
to
he
be a
finally
superstar.
once he finally hangs up the jersey, you think we'll ever see another action star like Tom Cruise?
Oh, absolutely. People forget about him.
Really? You think so?
Absolutely. It happens. That's just the nature of the business. Look, Gene Hackman retired like 10 years ago, and nobody talks about that. How that's been a terrible loss for the acting community, I think. But he's just too old to do it. Have you seen him now? He just looks just older. Just what happens. Same thing with Sean Connery.
We've never seen a guy that can consistently do
He's only-
physicality
he's-
at this age.
He's only doing that because he looks young. Like as soon as that flip switches, it's done.
He's 65 years, 64 years
No,
old.
he said somehow he's been. People just are. We were all amazed at how young he looks for his age, right? We're all amazed. Some in his genetics, and something to do with genetics, probably.
Well, some of it's
helping
makeup
him.
too.
Yeah,
I remember
yeah.
when I think it was Top Gun Maverick first came out. The precursor to the movie starting was him just thanking the audience for coming back to theaters,
Yeah.
and he's out there with no makeup on,
Yeah.
and he looks his age.
He does,
So it speaks to how well makeup looks in movies.
but it also, I think he's got great genetics, but there is a certain point beyond, I think, where even makeup helps. Like it's just they can't play the characters that you would normally see play, and then I don't want to get into that too much. So, but yeah, Tom Cruise been a great actor for a long time. That to be said, I think he was talented enough to pull this off, but I was still surprised by it and enjoyed it. So
Most versatile actor of all time.
no.
You would say that?
Nah, I don't think so.
Okay, who?
Oh gosh, dude, that's going to be a tough answer for me.
You've never thought about this?
Who's the greatest actor? Oh yeah,
The most
okay.
versatile.
Yes,
They can do anything.
Yeah, because it's going to have to probably be an actor that's not in this generation. I think it's the Mr. Smith Goes to Washington.
Oh, James Stewart.
James Stewart.
Jimmy Stewart.
I think it's Jimmy Stewart.
Really
Most diverse.
interesting. Okay.
Remember, he could play comedy, he could play romantic, he could play serious, he could do everything. I think he's.
He never did action though. He did
Yeah,
a couple.
yeah, no,
he did
I
a couple
did-
of westerns, but
Westerns.
I don't really count the
And
westerns.
don't forget that he was a World War II fighter pilot before he became an actor. Yeah,
Oh, so you're including real life achievements as well.
Like
Okay.
he's and that plays against type based on some of the roles that he plays. No, I think he's the greatest actor in cinematic history.
Okay.
So
Wow.
yeah, Jimmy Stewart. But that's just off the cuff thinking about that. I might need to think about it. Some.
Okay. Think about it some more. We'll get back to this.
But yeah, okay. What about you? Who's on that list for you?
To me, it's Tom Cruise, Denzel Washington.
Tom Hanks? Is he in there?
He's probably in the top 5.
Denzel. Yeah, Denzel.
Leo.
Leo. Jeez Louise.
Um,
Maybe because they're not done.
they're not
And I know
done.
Jimmy Stewart is, and we
Yeah.
have his work entirety. We have his we know everything that he's been able to do, and maybe we haven't seen comedy from DiCaprio.
Or Denzel. They haven't done comedy, so maybe I'll take them off that list. Then I don't know.
Talking about the most diverse. So.
Diverse means you can cross over any genre
Dude.
and you can do it at a high level.
Jim Carrey.
you can
might be
become somebody
near
else.
that list. Might be. That's the thing. Like you're talking about, he did comedy at the highest level. Okay, is he a great dramatic actor? I don't think he's great, but he's good. But the diverseness between the two, he could play them both. See, so that talks to that. Can he do romantic? Well, he did Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Can he do?
He can do Dark and Sinister, the number 23.
He could do. We know he can do Ace Ventura and the Riddler and all way off. The new one, he's in the Sonic movies. He plays
Yeah,
way over.
maybe it's him.
Maybe, and he can do serious biopics, like The Man on the Moon, Andy Kaufman.
I say it's between him and Hanks.
Oh, good lord!
No, because they both have crossed the Rolls
but Tom
Royce.
Cruise would not be, because he did that comedy. But I think that's the only one I remember him doing.
You don't consider Jerry Maguire comedy?
He doesn't play it comedy though.
He doesn't. You're right. Yeah, he's got some funny moments in it, but he's not.
No,
Yeah,
he doesn't. Not like Jim Carrey. He's not putting on a suit and playing the Grinch. You know what I mean?
he played Les Grossman.
He did play.
We just talked
that's
about
his
him. So,
version of the Grinch.
yeah, and that was a funny character.
That was a definitely, but
Yeah.
probably based on a real life person.
Harvey, you thinking Harvey?
but like probably based on somebody he's met.
Okay.
or amalgamation of a bunch of different people in Hollywood that he's met.
I think if it comes down to
Hollywood's nasty, bro.
Carey and Hanks, I gotta go Hanks because I think Hanks' public perception
Yeah,
is more well received versus Carey.
and he's an Oscar-winning
Yeah.
actor,
Mm-hmm.
but he does comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I give it Hanks.
I want to see Tom Hanks in a horror film. Give me that, and he's solidified.
Put Jimmy Stewart and Hanks up there. I'm good with that.
Okay. All right. It's unfortunate we got two white guys, but hey, it's Hollywood.
Yeah, like I said, time. You know, cinema history is only since the 20s or whatever. Well, maybe before. But I think major studios and stuff. Maybe
Yeah.
the talkies. This is the talkies. The 30s, 40s. You know, it's only been 100 years old. Let's give it another 100 years and see
Jamie Foxx.
how many. Yeah, it's won an Oscar.
He can do it all. He played Ray. He can do comedy. He's done action with the Baby Driver. He hasn't done horror though.
I feel like in Baby Driver and like in the newest iteration of his character from Spider-Man, he just plays
Electro.
him. He just played him.
That's what I thought too. Yeah.
It wasn't a character like the first Amazing Spider-Man 2 that he was in. He was kind of a
Nerdy,
nerdy,
eccentric.
homeless guy.
Yeah.
He was more thing.
He had this weird come over, which is weird because
Weird.
I didn't think black guys could get
Hey,
hit like
dude, the come over from Wakanda. What is it? Black Panther, the one that Michael B. Jordan wears.
Oh.
That's actually started to become a popular.
that. Yeah.
thing.
I mean, I can see why. I mean, it was a cool vibe. It was a cool look. So.
Could you rock that? Could you
Oh, me no.
for the podcast?
No one's gonna see it. So.
No, we're gonna take at some point do a podcast picture, and I want you rocking that there.
Oh yeah, it's gonna give me like 5 years.
Dude, you could I'll get you some kind of a prosthetic.
I'm partial to a baldy, man. I like the bald look, man.
Dude, you look
Some
so
prosthetics.
Photoshop, we got it done. No worries.
I
got you.
No, here's what you'll do. Since you love it so much,
Yeah.
I'll give you a picture of me, and when you go put it in one of your AI apps that you love so
Yeah.
much.
That's what I'm gonna do. Actually, I don't even need a picture of you. I can just describe you to the AI, and it'll just come with a perfect.
How'd you describe me?
Let's go to the next one.
All right, good choice, my man. So that was Leslie Grossman, excellent choice.
Thank you.
This one for me, number 3. This is two people, but they're connected because of the roles they play in the film.
I'll allow it.
Okay. I mean, you cheated many times.
I love to cheat.
Yeah. Wait, let's not say that out loud. Speaking of cheating, I can't say that on air. My bad.
Oh,
I'll get in trouble.
oh.
Not a girlfriend. It was something school related back in the day. It's fine.
Okay.
So this is Super Bad. Officers Michaels and Slater. This is Seth Rogen and Bill Hader. These guys come in and I'm instantly laughing.
Yes.
You know, they come in and they snatch up McLovin, and I'm just like, I want to see more of them when they cut away, because at that point they're with Michael Cera and Jonah Hill, and they're on their mission to get the alcohol for this party, and they have their own thing. But it almost feels like once these two guys come in, Michaels and Slater, this could be like a whole separate movie. Like they could have just taken I'm sure they have hours of outtakes, just the two of them, and I just want to see that movie. It's actually a shame they don't interact with Michael Cera and Jonah Hill because, well, what is that? Dropped this.
It's just sanitary
Okay.
sanitizer.
You bring
Sorry.
brought it with you last week for the last episode.
I'm
It's
sorry,
dropping.
it keeps falling. I don't know.
But no, these two guys, I mean, they're comedic geniuses in
They
their own
are.
right. One on one, you put them together, it's like it feels like an extended SNL sketch.
It
It could have
is.
just been a whole movie just about that.
I would think like they are so not cops that I want them to be cops. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
They are. You envision what cops are. These two are not it. Mm-hmm. So they're playing the part of really they are not cops, but they're so funny, and their interactions with McLovin are so good, especially when they catch up back up to him at the end of the movie, and they're like, "You just left us," and they are hurt. You can see they're physically hurt. Hader is like, and then the other one of them, he's able to be like, "Dude, if he's our friend, we can't do this to him." And then the Seth Rogen part, he's like, "Dude, we can't stop our friend from, no matter how bad we feel, like we really hurt him right here. So let's just get together." And they come up with that awesome plan of making him look like a badass
Yes.
by the end of it.
Yes.
I'm Fogel. And he's handcuffed and all that.
So I don't know if you remember this, but they actually tried to make a separate version of these two characters. It was called Let's Be Cops.
Oh yeah.
And it had Jake Johnson and one of the
Damian
Wayans.
Wayans' son.
Yeah, there you go. I
I
can't
think
remember.
David
his name.
Wayans Jr.
Yeah, you're right. It was those two. I saw that movie because it immediately made me think of these two guys.
Yeah.
And it was not near as good.
No, but I like the concept.
Yeah, the concept
I
is
did
great.
like the
Yeah.
concept. But yeah, no, we need. I agree. We need one of these.
Yeah.
With these two characters. I take that right now.
They could still do this today.
Yeah.
I would love to see them go through the academy and rise up in the ranks to become detectives. And, you know, you could cut out the super bad angle out. You could just fast forward to now they're detectives or something like that. And they're still out there just breaking all the laws. They're drinking on the job. They're letting civilians shoot their guns. They're running red lights with the lights on. It's just, it could be 2 hours of just chaos.
It did. It would be so much fun with those two characters. I agree. I would love to see that. I think this one's a no-brainer, and this might be, if I had a ranking on the list, this would be number one. Because I think everybody in the audience who watched this character, it was similar to when Twilight came out, and anytime that Robert Pattinson would come on the screen, there would be kind of a wowing or an awing from the audience. I watched it with a group of college girls. I watched that movie with a group, the Twinkle movie.
Twilight,
yeah. Because he twinkles in the spot.
Yeah.
In the sunlight. I watched that movie with a group of college girls because I was running the projector at the time, and so it was a late night movie outdoors. So I was running the projector, and so I had to sit out there with about 200 to 300 college girls, and every time Robert Pattinson went on the screen, he went crazy, bro. I mean, the girls went crazy. Mm-hmm. This was similar to this guy in the Lord of the Rings movies, right? Like, when Legolas was on the screen, people went nuts.
Yeah.
All right? In the theater that I was with. And so I think that's a great indication that Orlando Bloom in his prime as Legolas.
Bloom.
Bloom, sorry.
Orlando
Bloom in his prime as Legolas during those Lord of the Rings movies, that would have been an instant blockbuster. I think people would have flocked. First, they were just dying for more Lord of the Rings stuff after the trilogy was finished. Mm-hmm. So much so they made The Hobbit, which was, I think, a mistake.
Yeah, disappointing.
But instead of The Hobbit, follow up with a Legolas movie. Dude, it would have been great. Or even an Aragorn movie would have been probably great too. People love those two characters.
Yeah.
Put them together, make it a buddy film set in the land of Lord of the Rings. Would have been awesome. So that's my pick. A side character that I think could absolutely carry his own solo movie. That's going to be Legolas from Lord of the Rings. No brainer.
I think if you're going to make a buddy movie instead of Legolas and Aragorn, Legolas and Gimli.
Oh yeah, that might be the more hilarious.
They were always competing on how many kills each of them got. They were
taking keeping
count.
So yeah, maybe that I agree. That's even better. Yeah.
And also, I think if you give him his own movie, it takes him out of the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise because they're happening around the same time.
Right.
So I think Lord of the Rings, the first one is 2001.
Okay.
And then the first Pirates of the Caribbean is 2003.
Yeah.
So those franchises eventually overlap.
Yeah.
So if you do Lord of the Rings and then Twin Towers and then Return of the King, that's what, 06, 07, I believe. Pirates of the Caribbean 3, I don't think had come out yet. I think that was 08. So if you give him, you could still give him his spinoff after both of those franchises are done. Now, did you want a whole franchise or just a one-off movie?
Well, I as in the rest of them, I think it's all based on how well that first movie does. So if Legolas does as big numbers as I think it would, then yeah, you could potentially spin it off into more movies. But
Okay.
I just would I think of any side character that's on my list, or anyone that I researched, if I could think of anybody who would really nail a side movie as a side character and carry their own movie, it's Legolas.
Okay.
Just the popularity of that character was crazy.
Okay. I guess I didn't pay enough attention. Also, I wasn't there with a bunch of girls like you were.
Well, yeah, this particular movie, he had all the best scenes. It just seems like when it came to the action scenes, he had all the best ones, and people loved that character. So, yeah, that might even go over today because Orlando Bloom still looks young, and part of his stuff was prosthetics. So, why not? You could potentially make the movie.
Yeah, that's true.
Now. Make a Legolas movie now might do well.
I guess he's not too old, but when I saw him in Gran Turismo, it made me realize I hadn't seen this guy in so long. He's obviously aged because it's been 20-something years now.
But I think he could put the hair on, put the suit on, put the ears on, and it would be enough.
Sounds weird to hear people say put the ears on, but yeah, no, you're right.
He got to spock it out.
He was an elf, right?
Elf.
Wasn't he an elf? Or what was he with the ears? What is he?
Oh, he's an elf. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
I thought you asked me if he was in Elf.
No,
Will
no,
Ferrell
no.
movie. I was
His character is an elf in the movie.
Yes, he's
Like a magical elf.
Yeah, he's like yeah.
And something about
They have a specific word. You're offending all the people that love Lord of the Rings right now. They have a certain name for those elves, and I forget what they are.
are you elf shaming?
Elvish,
I'm elf shaming?
elf something, Elvin. I think they call them the elf.
Elvin? Okay, whatever. I don't know. I don't remember.
I know.
No, is it something also cool about characters that are accurate with the bow and arrow? I don't know what it is. Like
Robin
Hawkeye,
Hood.
Katniss, Robin Hood.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. It's one of those things that I would like to
Something
learn.
that we could all do if we had the type of hand-eye coordination. Maybe
Oh yeah, my
it's just something you could pick up.
my eyesight is done. I need a gun now with the laser beam.
You need self-guided bullets.
100%. That's a great choice though. I like it. Number 4 for me. So this is a movie that kind of like we talked about in the last episode. They don't make these types of movies anymore because of cancel culture and hypersensitivity that we're living in now. This is a movie. It's Project X,
No,
which I talked about before in this podcast. I love this movie. But the side character I want to see get his own spin-off is the character Miles, played by Miles Teller.
Okay.
Yeah, he's the biggest name in the movie, and he wasn't even really a big star yet at that time. This was I think 08, 09. But I would love to see like the day after his story, because in the movie we follow the 3 main characters. They go to school the next day and they're heroes, they're legends in high school now because they threw the biggest, most epic party, and drug dealers with flamethrowers show up, and dogs are floating away with helium balloons, and all this. And there's a Mercedes ends up in the family pool, all this stuff. Chandeliers are broken. I mean, it's chaos. But Miles Teller shows up in this movie basically as the older college kid who brings a party bus full of girls. But he doesn't know anybody. I mean, he's not in high school. He doesn't know these kids, but he just heard about this epic party that's happening, and he shows up, and he kind of makes the party. And I think he's a baseball player in the movie. So I'd like to see what happens when he goes back to college, like after the weekend. And I want to see him throw his own version of this party to say, well, if these 3 high school losers can do this in high school, I'm in college. I'm the man. I can do this as the star baseball player. Now, obviously, his penance is he gets kicked off for the baseball team, loses the scholarship, but he would have an amazing story to tell. And imagine doing Project X on a college campus in a fraternity house. How much more wild it could get.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I like it, dude. I like that. I like to see what. I've never seen the movie itself, but I could imagine a scenario where those 3 main characters show up in his movie as a cameo.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah. My next one of the side characters that could carry a solo movie. My next selection is Jake Hoyt from the movie Training Day, played by Ethan Hawke. Like,
Would you consider him a side character? He's pretty much even level with Alonzo in that movie, though.
Well, I just see, because it's an Oscar-winning performance by Denzel Washington. He is the main character in the movie. What Jake Hoyt is the audience. It's the audience stand-in. We are just living through Jake Hoyt and experiencing Denzel Washington's character through Jake Hoyt. So I see him as a side character. I think the Academy ranked him as a supporting actor.
Cast, yeah.
And a lot of my list, I went through all the supporting actor Oscar nominations for the last 30 years. I went through all of them to try to find people.
This is why
for
you're
this
up till
list.
3 in the morning, huh?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And look, a lot of them, it's like the very definition of what we're looking for is a side character that dominates so much of the movie. It seems like that he deserves his own side. So he could have his own solo movie. In this scenario, it's a little different. This guy experienced so much for that first day that I want to know what happens next for him. Like he literally survives this training day. And I don't even know if he's a cop anymore after the end of this. Like, does he keep doing what he's doing? Like, how does it all shake out? Does he keep being a cop in my mind?
If you remember, not to cut you off, but if you remember, he actually he takes the money that Alonzo had, and so he's got to book that as evidence. That's what his whole thing was this is money as evidence. You murder this guy to get this money. And the scene before they go rob Roger for that money, they're talking to the 3 wise men. And I think those guys are like high level in the police department and political officials. So he's gonna have to face those guys if he decides to stay as a cop.
Well, I think the interesting thing is, what if he turns into Denzel?
I've heard this debate before.
I wonder if if he stays on. Like, I don't know how you do that and keep your morals, especially with those officials that you mentioned that are higher up. He's never going to be able to beat them unless he tries to bring them down or goes undercover,
Right.
and just kind of becomes what Denzel's character was as an undercover the entire time. So maybe that might be a work in for that. That he appears to have become what Denzel Washington was, but it's all a facade. He's faking to catch these higher level officials. That could be it.
That'd be a nice little magic trick. I see him, regardless of the route he goes, I see him getting killed in the end of his movie.
Yeah.
Because I think those three wise men, they're gonna send everybody after him. Even Alonzo's team, they're gonna remember. Oh, well, Jake did this to our guy, so let's go get him back.
So maybe the only way to survive that is to become the new. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Jake Hoyt from Training Day. I think he could carry his own solo movie, and it'd be interesting.
It's crazy that you said Jake Quake because I almost picked Smiley from Training Day, the guy where they go see him and they drag him. They're playing cards. They drag him into the tub.
Oh my god.
The Mexican guy.
Yeah.
I almost picked him because whatever he had going on was dangerous.
What they had
scary.
going on was yeah.
Yeah, I would like to see more
Bring
of
back
that.
him that. Bring him back in the Jake movie.
I mean, they could too.
There you go.
That's how he gets to overpass. That's it.
But he has to make a deal with them.
But they know Alonzo's dirty. Because remember, they even tell Jake Hoyt, there's nobody out there for you. He played you. I don't shake his hand. I don't trust him.
Yeah.
They would be the backup.
He knows too much now. See, he
does.
couldn't even quit.
He'd have to toe the line between good and dirty to get the job
do
done.
undercover for like the FBI to do it. I think.
Yeah,
That could be the movie.
I'd see it.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously he's too old now, but I would have seen that. You know.
All right. Well, who's your next? Is this your last one?
This wraps it up.
Okay, here we go. Number 5 for you.
So, side character I'd like to see that could carry their own movie is Emmett, played by Cillian Murphy in A Quiet Place 2.
Oh wow.
You can't just drop Cillian Murphy in a movie for a couple of scenes and then he's out. Like, he's too big of an actor, even at that time. This is before Oscar-winning Cillian Murphy. He's too good of an actor to drop him in for a couple of scenes and he's out.
I agree.
I understand Emily Blunt is an amazing actress. It's about her and surviving with her kids. But you can't put him in that movie and then, okay, I'll give you shelter, but then you guys got to go. And the next hour of the movie, he's out of it. He's gone.
Yeah.
I want to see what happened to him. I want to see his origin to when the monsters first attacked and how he ended up where he did. And I don't want to help anybody. Leave me alone. Stay away. Don't
We're
bother
getting
me.
that, right? Quiet Place, is it called Day One? Or
Yeah, so the origin story of when the monsters first show up.
And that's a perfect opportunity to see his origin, too. Isn't it?
Yeah, my only thing is, the trailer's already released and he's not in it, and I don't think they're gonna try to give us a surprise cameo again. I don't think they would do that twice, unfortunately.
Gotcha.
It does look good though. I'm excited. I love that shot, the aerial view where you see multiple monsters jumping or falling from the sky through the window in the mall. I'm very excited about that. So we'll see what happens, but yeah, again, I think it's a disservice to the level of acting ability that he has to put him in a couple of scenes. I imagine him and John Krasinski are probably friends, and he did it as a favor. But I can see them going. This could spawn multiple spinoffs just off of this one character. Based on there's a reason he's chosen to cut himself off from the world and not to help anybody. When I feel like this is a pivotal moment in human history where if you're needing refuge or sanctuary, I can help you. There's a reason I feel like he's chosen not to, and I'd love to see what brought him up to that point. Maybe it's because he lost his whole family and he's just like, it's going to be just me. I don't want to lose anybody else. A lot of these post-apocalyptic survival movies, you come across characters like this where I don't want to help anybody because I don't want to get emotionally attached. Because I lost somebody close to me before.
And the resources are limited more, and I've got to protect mine, and I can't share.
If I have 2 cans of beans and I'm going to let you and 3 kids in.
And you're not bringing anything to help.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you got to go.
It's rough.
I'm not answering my door if you knock on my door, sorry.
All right, a good choice. All right, my final one on my list, and I'm be interested in what you feel about this. I would like to see a continuation of a story in his own solo movie about what takes place after this movie ends. His name is Jules Winfield from the movie Pulp Fiction, played by Samuel L. Jackson. This is a person that is a gunman, assassin for hire, who is throughout this movie having a change of heart.
Big
Right?
time.
He is. The truth has revealed itself to him, and he is going to take a different direction.
They called it divine intervention, basically.
Yeah, he did, and he's got great monologues in this movie. Obviously, everyone remembers the Bible verse that he speaks in as he's about to shoot someone. And it is this character is just I'm just so interested in the dynamics of this character. One minute he's this really badass like guy with a wallet that says bad MFer on it,
Yep.
to a guy that's like having mercy on a couple that comes in to rob this diner. And he said normally, he just smoked him, but he's having a change of heart. Today's a different day. And he says he's going to walk the earth. That's his thing. He's going to walk the earth. And his partner Vincent's telling him, you're going to be homeless, man. You got to have cash. You got to have money. And, when Jules is determined to change his life. And I'd like to see the next iteration of that story written by Tarantino.
Has to be. Directed and written by Tarantino. What happens to Jules? This will never happen. Because I don't think Tarantino has enough films left in him. Yeah.
He's going to do one more and that's it. But other people have said that and they've come back. But we'll see. I have a feeling that Tarantino is just not your typical guy that does that. Or takes that lightly. But
Well,
he may find something he loves enough.
Scorsese recently said that he's only got 1 or 2 left in him.
Yeah.
But I can believe because he's been doing this for 50 years.
Yeah.
So that I can believe.
But no, Jules Winfield, what happens to him on his Walking the Earth tour and what kind of shenanigans, or does he, in my imagination, he's forced back into the life for a little bit, obviously, but the reasons why are probably going to be different than working for some guy and handing over a briefcase that we have no idea what's in. Right? That's part of the
I keep
MacGuffin.
forgetting we never
know.
that's right.
I think Tarantino might have talked about what he thought was in it, but I don't remember.
Oh,
A lot of
okay.
people think it was his soul, but the main bad guy's soul.
Right.
But I don't know. Anyway, Jules, let's see him again. I'd love to see him on the big screen again. I'd love to hear a lot more of his monologues about him changing and what that changed, how that change takes place in a gunman for hire, what he does next. I'd love to see it.
I can see him going like Equalizer, in that he just decides to walk the earth helping people,
Yeah.
kind of thing. And if but he avoids the violent aspect of it. He's more of the hostage negotiator. I'm gonna talk you off the ledge, off the roof, talk you into putting the gun down, kind of thing. And he's just like, this is my burden. I've killed so many people. It's up to me now to prevent others from doing the same thing. Don't follow my path.
I think it could also follow a John Wick narrative. He hangs up the hitman thing years ago. He's on a new path, but then something happens from his past to bring him back in. Or something happens to where he has to bring it back out.
I know what it is. John Travolta's character gets killed. That's what it is.
Well, and then John Travolta's character gets killed at the end of the Pulp Fiction. Right? He gets
That's right.
killed
He
in the
does.
apartment.
Yeah, you're right.
Without Jules in there. We don't see what happens to
So he
Jules.
doesn't know. So at some point he gets wind of it. Come
Tracks
back.
down Bruce Willis's character and wants revenge for Vega's death.
Yep.
Maybe.
Bring Bruce back. Ving Rhames. Of course, if this was 20 years ago, do that.
Yeah, I know. This is
this
all
is-
pipe dreams.
That's all it is. Yeah, but it would be fun to watch.
It would have been.
Man.
And maybe somebody will bring it back using AI.
Oh
Okay,
my
that's it.
gosh.
Artificial intelligence. We have to have at least one mentioned by me every episode. And that'll wrap it up, folks, because we're always going to wrap up talking about AI. We hope that you like this new structure. The top 10 side characters that could carry a solo movie. 5 by me, 5 by Mike, and hopefully a shorter and more enjoyable experience for our listeners. Mike, any last words for this one? In the books, once again, another one.
No, this was fun, a cool concept. It actually feels shorter than I thought it would be, even though I felt like we did dive off a lot more.
Some tangents.
So it was cool to have the luxury to do that,
Yeah.
and not feel like, man, I feel like we've been here for 4 hours. 'Cause I think one thing people don't realize is if you've never done a podcast, this is actually my second attempt at it. Like, everyone thinks they can just pick up a mic and just talk, but it's actually not as easy as it seems. Like I know we always talk about, and we're like beating a dead horse here, but we always talk about the origins of this podcast. Is we've done this for years before we had mics.
Yeah.
Just in conversation as friendship.
Just having fun conversations about movies.
But when you have to organize it, I think there's a little more thought behind what you say and
There
how
is
you
more
know
effort.
put things together.
And the hard part that I found is getting back to the relaxed nature of what a Just Our Conversation was.
Right.
Because now we've got these mics pointing at us. We've got this structure and this list that I want to go through. And it feels like I'm giving a book report and not having a conversation with my friend. And it says taking us multiple numbers of podcasts to get to, I think, a point where it's more natural than it's been. I think every time we've done it, it's been more natural. That's why some of our first iterations, our first attempts might not make it to air because we were just really still figuring things out and how to get it to work. But I think at least in the last few times that we've done it, at least the last couple, it's felt more natural and more like what our normal conversations have been. It's been funnier. It's been more lighthearted. It's been good. It's been more like the flow that I'm used to have us having and enjoying us having. So, yeah, it's been good. And this might be a key to unlocking it even more. Well, who knows?
Maybe so. I know for me, I try to, like for me, listening to playback is crucial because I'm always gonna be my biggest
Yeah, I
critic.
hate listening to myself.
And so I'm used to hearing my voice now because again I've done this before, and I think at this point it is what it is. You got to accept this is what my voice is gonna sound like. I can't change it, but I enjoy doing this. That's just not gonna stop.
No.
But I find myself getting excited when I speak, and sometimes when I speak really fast, my words slur together.
Me too. I'm a mumbler. I'm a big mumbler.
So in my head, while I'm speaking, it's like, okay, Mike, take your time, calm down. Speak from your diaphragm so your voice projects. Instead of normally talking like this, because I talk really fast normally. And people are like, what did you say? I don't know. What is it? Say it again. That's how I normally speak. And people are like, what is he saying?
Right.
So I've heard myself talk like that in older episodes. And it's like, I would turn this off.
Yeah.
If this wasn't me and I'd listened to that person speak, I would turn me off. So as something I'm trying to
yourself
improve,
and improve.
I'm trying to take my time. You can get the same words out. Just take your time getting the words out.
Well, if it's any consolation to you, when I'm listening to the podcast, I never have an issue with the things that you're saying, how you say it. And I have a feeling you probably feel that way about me. The things that I say when I'm talking, you're good because we're both used to listening to each other in our own cadences.
Right.
But yeah, we do. There's a third party here. We do have to take in consideration, but not to the point where it takes us away from kind of our natural conversation. So we've got to find a good balance. And I think we are getting there. Have patience with us. We are getting there. And if you're listening, you're probably, especially if you listen more than one and you're not somehow obligated to us in order to do so, then you probably are okay with what we're doing. So we appreciate you.
Yeah, absolutely. If they're still here, then they're liking something that we're doing.
There we go. Well, we'll just keep doing it. And we hope that you'll keep listening and maybe share this with a friend, a coworker, somebody else who has a love of movies like we do, all together collectively. So
That's a key part. I saw this post the other day. It was a meme where they were talking about when you finally find someone who shares your passion for film that you do, and then the meme was like this guy giving this other guy like a big hug. I know what that feels like because when I talk about movies like off from the podcast with other people, they're just kind of looking at me like with the glazed over look, like, oh, they don't love film the way that I do or we do.
Yeah.
And it's unfair to put that on them, but it's like I just poured my heart and soul into what I was talking with this movie, and all you could say was, oh, that's cool.
yeah,
It feels like, oh, okay, I just did this for nothing. Like, what is the point?
it's like speaking to an alien. If they don't know movie, like you literally go, oh, you've never seen this movie before? You didn't watch Dune? What are you, out of your mind? Like, did you just miss the cultural zeitgeist of what was happening?
Yeah.
But that's just us. We got to remember that
That's true.
We're in it, and they're not. And there are normal people that have great lives that had never watched movies, which we find so foreign. But it's a legit, real thing, and that's why part of this podcast is trying to find our tribe. Like we're trying to find the people that do connect to us and with us and feel the same ways about movies the way we do. We hope you're part of our tribe. If you are, you're listening to multiple podcasts. We appreciate you. Thank you. And, in a large part, we do this because of you. So thank you so much.